Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 PM Pacific time in the United States, which is 10 AM if you're in Australia, where I am, or 1 AM if you're in the UK. Smurfberry Barbecue is here. It's good to see you, buddy. Remember though, if you do miss the live streams, you can always catch up and watch them at any time by clicking the videos tab. If you're on the new Twitch layout at the bottom of my stream, or if you're on the old Twitch layout at the top of my stream. We're going to continue working on the House in the Hollow game, which is available to wishlist right now on Steam. Just click the graphic below my stream. With the new layout, I think you've got to go to... I'm not sure. Anyway, you can just type !Steam in Twitch chat. That'll give you a link. Or go to thehouseandthehollow.com, which is the name of the game. So we're working on the study for that game. We're working on the assets for the study in 3D Studio Max and Substance Painter, and doing UV mapping in Rhizome UV. There, thank you, Smurfberry. Smurfberry just popped the Steam link there for you in chat. Because with the new layout, I think you've got to go, like, it's not under the panels that used to be under my stream are no longer there. I think you've got to click over to the next, I think it's home, videos, something, one of those. Click on one of those and you'll find it. No problem, Smurfberry. So yeah, the Twitch have changed their layout. You may not be seeing the new layout because Twitch are rolling it out in stages. But eventually everyone will get the new layout and everything will be below the stream, not above the stream. I don't know. I mean, I do like the new layout. I'm not criticizing it. It does look good. It just gets confusing sometimes when they change things a lot. Okay, as always, if you have questions while I'm working, please feel free to pop in the chat and ask me. If I can help you, I'm happy to try. If you just want to pop in and say hello, that is always welcome. But if all you want to do is watch, that's completely fine. I do not always want to talk to streamers when I watch them. I just want to watch. So I get it. So yesterday we worked on the hourglass for the study. Today we're going to work on a magnifying glass, which we should get done pretty quickly. And after that, I want to move on to a hand mirror. So we're doing the smaller assets for the study. I don't think we've actually got any big assets left to do before we jump into UE4 to start putting the study together. I'm pretty sure, apart from things like the floor and the walls, but we'll tackle that at the time, when we get into UE4. But we're going to start UV mapping this up, and then we're going to take it into Substance Painter and start texturing it up. Android Lost, hey to you as well, good to see you. So yes, we've just been discussing the changes to Twitch's interface layout. If you don't see it yet, you will soon. So let's start UV mapping this up. And so we're going to send it over to Rhizome, but we have to make sure it's an edit poly. Just to use this plugin, because the plugin will complain if it's not edit poly. You're back, good to see you, Smurf. You don't see the new layout yet, Android Lost? Okay, well, you will soon. Twitch are rolling it out in stages, so if you don't see it right now, you will see it soon. Yeah, no, that's I've actually done a strange unwrap for a mosaic, but anyway. Okay, let's try a different one. Not really happy with that seam line. I'm wondering if we might have to do this one by hand. Let's see if we can do it by hand, I think. Yeah, I think it might be better. So what I might do is I might do a cut. Through here. And then I can do a cut under here. Let's see how what that gets us. We're getting a little stretching happening at the end of the why is that? I wonder. I think it might be because I forgot to take the cut all the way to the very end. Yeah. That's better. Smokeberry says unwrapping from the pole. That's right. So it's just better than having two cuts either side. We've got one cut running along the bottom. We have a little stretching happening here, but not enough to worry about. It's very light red. We should be good. Let's send that back. Move on to the next one. Let's see what Rhizome does here, shall we? Yeah, no, I don't like that. No. Okay, let's see what... Let's see now again. Rhizome can tend to lose its mind a little bit here. The automated tools are good, but not always the best. Again, look at all the cuts it wants to put on that. That's ridiculous. And these two are not going to do anything, so I'm going to do this one by hand as well. So I'm just going to slice it through there, make sure I go all the way to the end. And we'll slice it around the outside. Unwrap, optimize, and pack. Well, that's good. Let's send it back. And this bit. It's already in edit poly, that's good. Let's see if we can clean this up. We're getting a little bit of stretching there. Let's see if we can do an optimize on the mesh. Just got to keep hitting that optimize button until the mesh stops moving. Or until we get bored with hitting the button. It should be fine. And last but not least, the glass bit. Simple. Okay. Let's attach the outer bits together. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to collapse my stack. And we'll attach that bit to that bit to that bit. Now we'll repack the UVs. Doesn't do... It's packed them based for pixel density. That's why it looks like we're wasting a lot of space here. There's really not a lot we can do about that. The only way we could fix that would be to split these two here, which will give us more of a seam line. And so we've got to weigh up whether we want more seam lines to take better advantage of the texture space, or we want less seam lines but we're going to waste some texture space. Android Lost says, I hate when unwraps do that. Yeah, and again, it's doing it because of these larger pieces. The only way, like I said, we could fix it would be to split these larger pieces in two, which will give us 2 extra seam lines. Then the repack will take better advantage of the UV space. Now we could do that because these lines here and here, these UV islands, they're actually this piece around the outside, and that piece is going to be metal. So we're less likely to notice a seam line on metal. So if we sort of go through and say split it, I don't know, about maybe through here. I'm so used to using Rhizome, I really hate working with Max's tool now. Not that there's anything wrong with Max's tool, but I'm just so used to using Rhizome. And if we go over to this one, let's get it to repack it again. Now we're using a much better use of the UV space, but we do have an extra 2 seam lines. But it's going to be metal, so it should be fine. I'd rather have better use of UV space than fewer seam lines here. It really does depend on the model and how you're going to texture it though. Okay, let us throw a checker pattern down so we can check our texel density. And we'll go 10 by 10. And that should be fine. Texel density looks even. Okay, we're going to keep the glass as a separate object so that when we take it into Unreal we can set up a separate shader. But for Substance Painter, we just want the outside of the magnifying glass. Let's just do a save. Let's see if we have that flipped poly problem again. Let's export selected to the magnifying glass. Mag glass. Because I'm too lazy to write magnifying. Okay, now what are you warning me about? Local, okay, alright. It's basically the axes is all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the pivot. And I'm going to throw down did I set it up? Did I put it here? Reset export. Collapse my stack. So now let's do an export. Glass. And now that error is gone. Cookie! It's good to see you, Cookie. Says, yo dog. We heard you like magnifying tools, so we added a magnifying tool into your 3D modeling package so that you can use a magnifying tool when you make your magnifying tool. I do like magnifying tools. This is true. We're going to see if we have that flipped poly problem now. Let's jump into Substance Painter. Create a new project. Load up the magnifying glass. And thankfully this one is not flipped, so that's good. Let's bake out our maps. Make sure I change the ID. Actually, I forgot to do a material color, didn't I? Let's jump back into Max. Phil always forgets something. Let's go into sub-object mode. So the handle is going to be wood. Let's make that a blue or purple. Purple will do. This bit here is going to be a metal, so let's make that, I don't know, a yellow or mustard. And this is also going to be metal, but we'll make it a different type of metal, and let's make it, I don't know, an aqua. There we go. Done and dusted. Let's export it again. Let's update our project inside of Substance Painter. Now let's bake out our maps. Changing the ID to vertex color.
What'll happen to me when you're done?
I'm going to remove the ambient occlusion because we're not using it. We're using real-time ambient occlusion in the game engine, so we don't need to bake it in. We're calling this mag glass for the texture name. Alright, let's see what we got to play with now. What have I got here? I was going to make the handle of wood. Yeah, no, I think maybe a painted wood might be interesting. Stop touching your face. Oh man, when is the human malware going to be gone so I can stop worrying about touching my face and having to wash my hands 10 times a day? Which I mean, I do it anyway, even though I'm at home. In isolation here, I still wash my hands like 10 times a day. I'm paranoid, super paranoid. Let's have a look at this one. I just want to see what it looks like. No, I don't like that. Let's have a look at this one. Ignore the rest of it. We're only concentrating on the handle here. Cookie says, and if you don't forget, you forget to forget, so you still forget something. Shut up now. Android does says, I'll be back in 20 minutes. No problem, buddy. I just want to have a look at this. I actually quite like the do I? Let me just get rid of that wood. Let me get rid of the blank layer at the bottom. We're just going to throw a couple of materials on this until I can see something that I like. Or if we can't find something we can do an interesting mix on at least.
Let's get to work.
This is one of those really heavy materials. I want to see if I can change the color of this. Let's take it into more of orangey red. Okay, let's see if we can do a actually, let's put these in a group. Come on, you can do it, Substance Matter. There we go. Let's mask the group so we're not distracted by going over the entire model. We just want to mask it to the handle.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. The computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top.
Let's have a look at a smart mask. Mercury says that is very unflattering colour. Alright, just for you, Smurfberry, we will change it. Just for you. Let's make it a nice blue. How about that? Which means, of course, I want to make this one more of a blue as well. There we go. Is that better? Let's look for a smart mask though. Actually, I just want to make some changes to this. Just got to find the right layer here. I might just knock that blue back a little bit. It's a bit bright. It's better. I'm just looking for the correct, that's what, it's this layer here I want to fix. Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. It's another, just the name of the texture that I found quite interesting there. But anyway, we'll move on from that. All right, I'm going to. I see. Okay. I'm just looking for the right layer here. I think it's this layer. Yeah. I'm actually going to turn that layer off completely. I don't like that really bumpy look it's giving it. So we'll remove that. In fact, we'll delete it completely. Maximum saturation, Smurfberry says. That's right. We will play with it in a minute. I just got to get the mixing and stuff right first, then we can look at the colour. One thing at a time, Smurfberry. Okay, it's in this layer here. I want to make some adjustments. Okay, it's in this metal 2 layer again. It's making it very bumpy, unnecessarily bumpy. So I'm going to remove that layer as well. Right, so it's like we've got a metal handle that's sort of painted and a bit rusty. Okay. Let's do a smart mask now. On this one. So I can get a bit of a blend happening between the two. Okay, let's have a look at the colour. We'll pull back on the saturation a little bit. Do I want to go metal or do I want to go wood? And what colour do I want to go? Oh, I don't know. Let me come back. I really should decide now before I start doing the rest of it. I don't know. I want it to be a colour so that if it's sitting on a table or something, it's easy to spot. Because, you know, it's going to be a relatively small asset in the game, being a magnifying glass. You will obviously be able to pick it up and look at it in the menu. So we will get good detail. So we'll make sure the detailing is okay. Let me come back to it. I'll continue on with these bits and then we'll come back here and decide on a colour and all that sort of jazz. So let's just close this group up. And let's find... the other bits are going to be metal. I could make that wood. It might be interesting. Let's see if that bit, what that bit would look like as a wood. Which is odd. Generally that would be metal. It would be a wooden handle. That would be metal going to metal, but we've got like a metal handle with wood going to metal. Hey, why not? It's my world, as Bob Ross would say. I'll do what I want. Now the ring though needs to be a metal, so let's look at this dirt steel one. Okay, I'm going to mask with color selection to you. It's not a bad starting point, but I'm sure we can improve on that. So let's also throw down let's have a look at this one. Come on, Substance, you can do it. It's thinking about it. I can hear my computer going in the background. It just takes it a little while to get itself organized. You're back. Good to see. Smurfberry says, so like a forest, but all trees are big magnifying glasses. That's right, like a forest, but a forest of magnifying glasses, Smurfberry. You got it. We're going to put both of these in their own group. I must do a save too, because I don't think I've saved this project. And I don't trust the program. Please don't crash. WB? What's WB? Smurfberry? I don't understand. What's WB? Don't crash on me, program. I will be very annoyed. Come on. Oh, Warner Brothers, yes. Warner Brothers, that's what I thought it was. Smurfberry says, well, welcome back. Okay. I trust the program is doing something. I can hear my computer going off in the background. You know how when your PC's processing something, it spins your fans up? I can hear that going on. So I know the program hasn't crashed. It's trying to do something in the background. We just got to give it a bit of time. There we go. Let's do a quick save just in case now. We are tempting fate, and that's never a good thing. Magnifying glass, and we're going to call it mag glass because I'm lazy and don't want to type out magnifying. Okay, let's do a mask with color selection now to the ring, and let us do again, the program is a little bit slow here. There we go. I'm just trying to work out what's going on. Okay, so again, the program is slow. There we go. I'm going to do a mask between these two. I just want to make sure it put the second layer in the group. It didn't. Okay. Not good. Bad program. I'm just going to drag this into that grouping and wait for the program to catch up. There we go. Alright, now we can do a smart mask. And for this we're going to go with let's go with this soft edges one. I want to throw it on that one. Android Lust says, nothing like a potential crash to make you want to save. That's right. You'll learn to save once your program crashes and all the work you've done disappears. That'll teach you to save. I'm just going to bring in the underlying layer a little bit. What else can we play with the balance? We won't pull up on the contrast. I don't think we need to do an invert. No. Alright, that's okay. The wood, I don't mind. The handle, though, I'm still not sure about. So let's have a look at that. I just don't know if I like the fact that it's metal, painted metal. A wooden handle might be better. So what I'm going to do is wait for the program to catch up. There we go. Do a quick save. Wait for it to save. And I'm going to turn off the handle and we're going to see. I'll leave it there so we can easily put it back if we want it. Let's see if we can make it a wood, if a wood would be more interesting. I'm just going to mask it to the handle alone so we don't get distracted by everything else going on. I'm also going to rotate the texture. Let's bejazzle it up a little bit by adding a little bit of gold. Because why not? I like gold. Who doesn't like gold? Actually, as far as jewelry goes, I don't wear jewelry, but I tend to prefer wearing silver than gold. I don't like the look of gold as jewelry. I prefer to wear silver if I was to wear jewelry, which I don't, but just saying, let's have a look at this. Come on, you can do a program. Again, I'm just going to do a quick save here as I go, just to be on the safe side. I don't know that I actually like that gold. I'm just going to remove it temporarily. We might come back to it. Let's have a look at this gold. This one might work better. Euro, it's good to see you, Euro. How are you? Says you need to triple that poly count for UE5. That's right. Put one of those turbo smooth modifiers and max on to the and turn up the iterations to like 10 for UE5. Hey, listen, they've said that we don't have to worry about poly count, so you know, all the polys, I say, throw all the polys on it. I actually quite like that. If it works the way that they demo it to work, not having to worry about poly counts will be a godsend. No lodding, no poly counts. Heaven. I want to use that UE5 now. Come on, Epic, you could release it early. Let people play with it while you're developing it. Actually, I'm just going to undo that because I need to put these into their own group. Okay, now we need to mask to just the handle. Now we can throw down a smart mask. Zero says, I'm good, was just chilling with the crew on Discord after some gaming. You've been playing GTFO again. Euro says, I just had an epiphany. If Epic... What? If you've been playing GTFO. If I just had an epiphany, if Epic ables that up... What? Oh, balls that up, okay. Normally I can work it out, but that one had me thrown. If Epic balls that up, UE5 could become the new Crisis. I'm sure they won't balls it up. Epic have been developing the UE engine for a very long time. I mean, Crisis became Crisis simply because it was the first generation of that engine, and they threw a bit too much at it for the hardware of the time. I'm sure Epic, though, will be a bit more careful. At least I hope so. I have faith that they'll get it right. They won't stuff it up. Because we'll never let them live it down if they do, will we? No, we won't. So have Crytek. Yeah, but wasn't that Crisis, the first Crisis game using the Crytek engine, wasn't that the first generation of that engine? I mean, they've developed it since then, like up to generation 3 or whatever there are up at the moment. But I thought that Crisis was the first game to use the new Crytek engine. Oh no, Far Cry, you're completely right. Far Cry was the first... No. Crisis. No, Crisis was before Far Cry, wasn't it? I thought Crisis came before Far Cry. I could be wrong. I haven't played either game, but anyway, it was the early version of the engine, the Crytek engine. So the Unreal Engine, though, they've been developing that, since version 1. This is new technology, though, so who knows? I mean, they're saying unlimited polygons. They're saying real-time global illumination. I mean, those are two very big things in computer games that have held back computer gaming, that have been the most difficult to work with when you're making a computer game. Your poly counts, your lotting, and your lighting. Those sort of three things are very time-consuming. And so if they can do unlimited polygons and real-time global illumination, and that's a pretty big boon because you won't have to worry about lotting at all. Smoker says, nope, Far Cry predates Crisis. Okay, well, there you go. I learned something new. Euro says, they just went a bit apeshit with tessellation of things that didn't need... Yeah, I agree, like blades of grass. Yeah. I mean, the UE5 engine, they're saying unlimited polygons. Great, that's great. Great. We were talking yesterday about, well, that means that game sizes are going to get blown out to huge proportions for you to have to download, because the higher the poly, the bigger the file size. That's one thing. But the fact still remains, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Just because you can have 10 billion polygons for 10 blades of grass doesn't mean you should do that. I think a little bit of common sense would still come into play, even with UE5 when it starts being available for people to use. Just because you can use unlimited polygons doesn't mean you should. Pick and choose where you want to use your high and your low poly. I think it'll reduce the file sizes, so you're going to make your users much more happy with their downloads. It's bound to improve performance because you're not throwing polygons at something you don't need to. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you start using UE5 when they release it next year. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm just saying, pick and choose where you really want to use your high poly stuff. That's what I mean. Because the game will just run better anyway because you're not having to throw as much at it. Even if they are streaming it in, which is what they're going to be doing. They're going to be loading and unloading polygons as you move through the level, like texture streaming, like virtual texture streaming. This will be like virtual mesh streaming. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. Yeah, that combined with something like mesh shaders, which is like lotting on the mesh, but it does it automatically, like it's done on the GPU. Yeah. So a combination of mesh shaders and virtual mesh loading, streaming. I bet that's what they're doing. Smurfberry says it was also a forward renderer and every individual object had its own motion blur. I'm assuming we're talking about Crysis here, the Crytek engine. The first version anyway, yeah. Euro says, Andrew Dust says true. Euro says it's a tech demo, it's designed to show the best of it, it's not meant to be the new norm. No, that's exactly right. That's a good point too. It's a technical demo. They don't intend people to, well, you can't, because in a tech demo, you don't have to worry, like we said yesterday, about other players, about other characters, about even having, AI and all this sort of thing going on. Most of it would have been pre-baked down, like the chaos physics and stuff. So, yeah, in a real game, you've got to be much more careful about how you use your poly budget. Even if they're saying it's an unlimited poly budget, just because it is doesn't mean you should. Pick and choose. I'm just going to turn that smart mask off for a minute. I want to see what one of these other smart masks gives me. Because why not? Okay, I think what I might do is I might have to do a bit of painting by hand because I'm not really going to get a mix that I like completely. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a mix of like that. Let's turn this smart mask back on as well. So let's move this smart mask above the other one. Let's play with this one a little bit. I might change the blending mode to pass through. No. Let's play with that blending mode a bit. Okay, that's better. So basically what I'm going for here is I want it to look like it was a gold painted handle and then the gold is starting to flake off. Because of the age of the magnifying glass, because it's old. So yeah, even when they release UE5, pick and choose where you want to go super high poly. Don't throw it on everything, it's unnecessary. It's just going to push out game sizes and it's just going to slow the engine down unnecessarily. Euro says, phew, I was wondering why it was so hot in here. My old PC was still on. Geez, your old PC like a space heater, is it? I used to have an old TV that used to do that. You turn it on and within half an hour it was like you had the heating going for, on full bore because it was just giving off so much heat. It was an old plasma TV. I don't know, plasma's not around anymore. They sort of stopped using plasma now. But it was an old plasma. Man, could plasma TVs, the amount of heat that they used to put off. Mercury says, I'm definitely going to abuse the crap out of those polygons for my beauty renders in UE5 though. Yes, well look, even I'm excited to see the games because even though they won't be quite as technically impressive as the tech demo that Epic released, they're still going to be amazing. I mean, I was pretty amazed with Bloodborne. That game, the amount of detail that the designers got into the levels for Bloodborne, considering the hardware it was running on, was pretty impressive. So I'm really excited to see what sort of games we're going to get with the next generation, with all of these new game engines, because they're going to be amazing. Amazing! And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about the pretty graphics, as you guys know. But yeah, you can go nuts if you're doing beauty renders, or if you're doing, even if you're rendering out stills, like, go nuts with the polys. And I'm still saying, use really high poly stuff with the new engine if you can. Just put it where it needs it. Just don't blanket everything with super high polygon because it's not necessary. But I like the fact you have to worry less about it because, yeah, worrying about polygon counts was always a pain. Euro says, It's an i7 4770K with a 650 Ti in it to encode. Well, actually, I'm using my streaming machine, not my main machine. I'm using a 2600K with a 2080. So, and it doesn't throw up a lot of heat though. I wouldn't have thought an i7 would have thrown out that much heat. Euro says I need to get a cheap Ryzen Delio and swap out the hardware. Yes, those Ryzen CPUs are pretty beastly and they're very good value for money too compared to Intel. Smurfberry says you saw how good the blue plant was with 30,000. Yes, Smurfberry created this science fiction looking plant egg looking thing, which was very cool. It's in the gallery if you guys want to check it out on the Discord server. If you haven't already, Smurfberry says, yeah, you saw how good the blue plant was with 30,000 polys. Just imagine that with unlimited polygons. It will be super sweet, super sweet. Smurfberry says, shoots lightning out of his fingertips. That's right. The evil emperor. Android Lust says, fill a room with those plants. Wait, not a room, a world. That's right. Forget the room. Fill an entire planet with those plants. How about that? Euro says to Smurfberry, you'll be able to load in your photogrammetry point clouds and it won't crap itself. That's true. Point clouds can be incredibly heavy on a system. It will be interesting to see how the engine does handle that. Because I'm not sure if they'll be able to. See, what we saw in the demo were not point clouds; they were actual meshes. And it will be interesting to see if the engine, if this, however they're doing their super high poly unlimited polygon thingy, whether that transfers to point clouds, because point clouds are not polygons, they're different. So we'll see. We're all going to have to wait till Epic release the engine and we all start testing it, because point clouds can be very heavy. Depending on the density of the cloud, of course. Yeah, because when you're doing photogrammetry, that's basically what you get to begin with. As soon as the cameras have all been triangulated, it creates a point cloud. And then from the point cloud is when it meshes the model. And then after it meshes the model is when it textures the model. So the point cloud can look like a textured model, because that's before the texturing stage. It's actually taking the color from every point in the image and applying it to that pixel. So. Android Lost is asking Euro which Ryzen are you looking at, and Euro says probably a 3600X or a Zen 3 equivalent when they come out. Euro says I don't need anything beastly for that rig. Android Lost says Android Lost says you're using a 2600K i7 Phil. I am. Well, my stream machine, the one that I'm streaming to Twitch, it's an i7 2600K with a 2080 and 32 gigabytes of RAM, I think. And the one that I actually work on here is an i7 8700 with a 2080 and 32 gigs of RAM. But yes, no, my stream machine is a 2600K and it handles everything fine. You guys have never had a problem watching my stream, have you? And I see OBS is bubbling away over here without a problem, and I've got Audition running and music playing and all sorts of stuff going on, so... The i7 2600 series was a great series of CPUs, Sandy Bridge. When they were released, they're still pretty good for some things. I mean, it's showing its age now, but you know, that's why I upgraded. Yuri says, I just want something that runs cooler and more efficient. Cooler is always good. Less power usage is always good. Good for the planet too. Good for your power bills and good for the planet. Actually, the new 10th generation Intel CPUs, they're sucking up the power. They're using a lot of power, like compared to the older series. It's because you're introducing more cores. More cores will use more power, but they don't seem to be quite as power efficient as AMD, which is a turn for the books, because generally AMD were the ones that used to suck up all the power, and Intel were very lean. But now it seems to have switched the other way around. AMD are very lean, and Intel CPUs are starting to suck up the power. Andrew Luss says, Euro is thinking of making the switch to Ryzen. Euro says, wait for Zen 3, higher IPC, and Zen 2. Apparently, no point getting anything cutting edge mid-late cycle. Yeah, do wait. The same with graphics cards, guys. If you're thinking, oh, wow, I'd really like to upgrade my graphics card now, wait. Ampere will be released probably just before Christmas, so around the third quarter, September, October, I'm assuming. NVIDIA will release the new Ampere graphics cards. And of course, I think AMD are releasing a new range of graphics cards then as well, around that time. So if you're thinking of upgrading your graphics card, wait. You know, we're in May now. We're soon going to be in June. You've only got to wait a few months. And CPU-wise, yeah, I do the same thing. I'd wait until AMD release their new line, because the new Intel CPUs, from what I've read and seen, the 10th generation that's just been released, are not that great. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're still on 14 nanometer, I believe. So that's pretty crappy, because Intel have been on 14 nanometer now for donkey's years. So you're not getting any benefits from the new production size, nanometer size, because they're still using the old one. They're using a lot more power because they're still using 14 nanometer, and they're stuffing more cores in them. That's why AMD CPUs use less power, because they're on 7 nanometer, I believe. So they can stuff the cores in and not suck as much power down. So yeah, the new Intel 10th generation CPUs, they're pretty ordinary. And they're not very good value for money either. So I would agree with Euro, I'd wait. Android Lost says, that's impressive. An old i7 still holds up. It does. The 2600K was a great CPU that Intel released, the Sandy Bridge CPU. But the thing is getting old now. I mean, we're talking, that would be like, when did I upgrade to that? That was in, I think, it was just when it was released. So it was either, I think it was 2012, and now we're in 2020. So 8 years. The CPU is 8 years ago. It was released 8 years ago, and it still holds up relatively. Like I could still game on it, as long as the game wasn't super heavy. I could still game on it, because it does have a 2080 in it, but it's not as snappy as my new 8700. Euro says, Steam boxes don't need much CPU power. Not when GPU encoding. Well, that's true. Stream boxes don't, particularly if you're using GPU encoding. Yeah, that's right. And I am actually doing the encoding on the 2080, not on the CPU. I probably could do it on the CPU, but I find that doing it on the GPU, my stream machine here, it's only using, I can look at the figures for you and tell you it is using. It's only using 6% of my CPU, because I'm doing all the encoding on the GPU. But it hardly even affects the GPU. I mean, yeah. The NVNC chip on the NVIDIA cards is really good, particularly on the new Turing NVIDIA cards, or the old Turing now. Yeah, it does encoding really efficiently. So, and doing it on the GPU, I don't have my fan going at 1,000,000 miles an hour if I was doing it on the CPU. And my microphone, you can't see it, but it's just off screen here, and it's quite close to my streaming machine. So the mic would probably pick up the fan noise. So that's why I do GPU encoding. And you guys have never complained, so there you go. Andrew Luss says, new computer hardware would just have a note in the box stating that your brand new hardware is now old. Congrats. That's right. Well, that's if you can even buy computer hardware at the moment, because everywhere's selling out, and it's you guys know it's taking it forever to get anything delivered, because everybody's buying stuff online and getting it delivered. So all of these postal services are crapping themselves and can't get things delivered quickly. So, I mean, Sniper Echo knows about that. He's been waiting months for some of his computer parts. So it's not good. Don't buy now. You're paying more than you need to because there's a shortage of supply. if you can find it. If you can't and you're ordering it online, it's going to take forever to get to you, and they're going to be releasing new stuff in a few months' time, so just wait. Yeah, I know I'm impatient too and I want new things now, but my advice would be to just wait if you want value for money. Euro says 10 series is still rebadged Skylake. Yeah, adjust factory bin for higher wattage. Yeah, that's right. They're still using the 14 plus, whatever they're calling it, Intel 14 nanometer plus. However many pluses they've got after it now, which is the same as like I'm on Copy Lake here, my main machine, and it's supporting plus, I think, nanometer. So they haven't, until they go to a smaller nanometer to the next generation, Intel are going to start sucking up a lot more juice. And they're still expensive, they use a lot of power, and you get less cores and threads than you do with AMD. So AMD is looking at much better value. Having said that, I've always bought Intel CPUs because I use a lot of Adobe software and software that just, in the past at least, has always seemed to be less problematic on an Intel CPU than an AMD CPU for whatever reason. I mean, I'm sure that's changing now with AMD, but generally I've found I have less problems with software when I'm on an Intel machine than an AMD machine. So I've always stuck to Intel. Having said that, I do have a third AMD machine here. But it's an older generation AMD. And I've never had any problems with it. Yuri says, Q1 2011, the 2600, there we go, 2011. I think I bought it in 2012 though. I don't think I upgraded to Sandy Bridge until 2012, but still. So that's 9 years old, that CPU generation that I'm streaming on. And it still holds up really well. I can still play games on it, like I said, so long as the games aren't too demanding. It still handles gaming fine. That's with a 27-inch 1440p screen, so still handles it okay with a 2080. Just have to turn the settings down, that's all. Like the game that I'm working on, I'm doing these assets for at the moment when I stop talking and start doing some work. I've tested that on the 2600K here with the 2080, and it runs the game at 1440p fine. It's not as high a frame rate as I get if I run it on my main machine, but it's still, you can still play it. So on a 2600K, although the game studio, we've decided that we recommend an i7. So what do we recommend? You know, I can't remember. Let me have a look. I'll go to the Steam store page and I'll check it out myself because I can't remember. I think an i7 or a Ryzen 7 is what we recommend. So you can go to thehouseontheholic.com. That'll tell you about the game, or you can go to the Steam store page. Yeah, we recommend as a minimum an i5 or a Ryzen 5, and as a recommended an i7 or a Ryzen 7. But my recommendation would be, would be an i7, at least 6th generation, so 6 series CPU or above. But like I said, I've tested it on an i7 2 series, 2nd generation here, and it runs fine. So, but yeah, to get the best value out of the game, probably 6th generation or higher. But you don't have to. Just depends on the resolution you're running it at and the graphics settings you've chosen for it and all that sort of jazz. Because you have control over all of that in the game, as you can turn shadow quality to whatever you want. What do they call it? The distance field to whatever you want. All of the general settings that PC gamers, PC master race people like to play with are in the menu for you to change around to your heart's content to get it to run the best on your system. And that's the other thing I love about PC gaming. We have control and we can fiddle with all the knobs and dials to get it to look and run the best way we want on our computer. Unlike a console where you're just stuck with whatever the developer says you've got to have. Smebury says, TFW, my CPU is 11 years old. Yeah, well that's it. But you don't need to upgrade CPUs as much as GPUs now, because you get better bang for your buck out of updating your GPU than your CPU. That's what I've found. That's whether you're doing content creation like me, where you need Premiere or whatever, or if you're gaming, you're going to get the best bang for your buck by upgrading the GPU and not upgrading the CPU. So I think that's why a lot of people still have CPUs that are generations old, because they upgrade their GPU now. It gives them better value. Although GPUs are getting very expensive. GPUs are more expensive than CPUs now. Heck, it's good to see you, Heck. How are you? A long time. I'm really good. How are you? Did you have a good week, a good weekend? What you been up to? But it's good to see you, Heck. Sorry, it took me a while to catch up there with the chat. Euro says, I should get a 1660 Ti for my Streambox. It has the Turing MBNC chip, which run a load cooler than the 650 Ti. Yeah, I mean, the 650 Ti, the MBNC chip and that isn't bad. They did improve it though with Turing, I found, because I was using the 1080 Ti for streaming before I switched it to a 2080. And I've noticed that the 2080 doesn't have to work as hard as the 1080 did while it's encoding. Yuri says, I don't know, I went from an i7 IV to 3900X, and that was quite a bang for buck. Well, 3900X, you wouldn't be complaining about that, Euro. Those cores and threads, so sweet. Android Lust says, one of my first PCs had a Pentium 4. When I upgraded it, performance was like night and day. Yeah. I don't think performance jump will happen like that again. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't think it will either. But they'll start throwing more cores on. So, we'll start getting more and more cores and threads every generation, because they can't really increase the speed much anymore. So they'll just start giving us more cores, which is a good thing. Not that games take full advantage of more cores yet anyway. That might change with the next gen consoles though. Smurpery says, Phil goes on a 10-minute day. No, come on, look, I've got to... Okay, let's save our project. We'll export this and then we're going to start working on the hand mirror. Do work, Smurpery says, yes I will do work. Also hydrate. Oh gee, I've been oh no, somebody said silent spell. You're lucky I can't see who requests these things, I can see the requests, but it doesn't tell me which one of you sent them, so bear that in mind. Hydrate, okay, let me have a copy. And someone wants me to be silent, so I have to be silent for 5 minutes. It's still 5 minutes, isn't it? Okay, starting now, there will be a 5-minute silence because that's been requested. And I can talk again. It's so cruel of you to do that to me. You know how hard it is for me not to speak. I'm such a motor mouth. If I'm not talking, it's painful for me. Oh, thank God. The magnifying glass, yes. The glass we will actually, when I take it into Unreal, I'm going to throw an actual shader, a glass shader on it for the inner part of the magnifying glass, and I'll probably throw a shader on that I've created. I want to start reusing shaded as much as I can now. So I have created like a dirty glass shader. I'll probably put that on it. To answer your question from before about the magnifying glass itself. I'm going to do this by hand because I didn't really like the way that the program wanted to automatically do cuts here. So I'll get a better result by doing it by hand. Even doing it by hand though, I prefer doing it in Ryzen than in Max. It's just easier to navigate the viewport and do your cuts in Ryzen than it is in Max. Not that Max's unwrapping tools are bad, I'm just saying I just find it a bit easier to work with here in Ryzen. And I'm glad you like the mirror. With the big snake on it. Oh no, I don't have to talk, I haven't spoken. Too busy concentrating on what I'm doing. Not quite sure how we're going to texture this up when we get into Substance Painter. I haven't really decided yet. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Oops, I keep holding down the wrong key. I'm thinking now, why isn't it doing what I want it to do? It would help if I held the right key. And then we'll go to this one here. And again, I'm not holding the right key. Phil. Phil. Alrighty, and then we'll just do one cut line along the bottom here, I think. Alrighty, let's do an unwrap, optimize and a pack. That should be good, let's send it back. Keep working our way up our mirror. Now this is quite complicated geometry. Let's see how Ryzen tackles it. Let's see here. So we're getting a bit of stretching happening. Let's try one of the other ones. Probably a better result, but we're still getting a bit of stretching happening. That's terrible. This is probably the one we'll end up going with because we're not getting any stretching. It has broken up the mesh quite a bit, but it should be okay. So it's mainly on the edges, so I think that should work for what we want. Let's send that back. Let's work on this seal at the top. Just collapse my stack. And we'll probably go with this one again, I think. No, not that one, it was the next one. Yeah, this one's better. We're getting a little bit of stretching happening in here, but it's in a part of the model, and because the model piece is so small, you're never going to notice it in game. So it'll be fine. Right, and then we've got the mirror outer edge. Let's try this one. Just see what this one gives us. That's a better unwrap. Cleaner UVs. Let's send that back. Alright, so that's all UV map. Let's UV map the glass itself, or the mirror. Because even though we're going to be throwing a shader on it in Unreal, it still needs to be UV mapped. This one. Okay, now I think we can tackle the snake. I've got the snake as a separate object. I'm just going to isolate it for the time being so we can work on it. Let's send, actually, okay, so what's going on here is when I created the snake, it's a group. So I'm going to start by ungrouping it. No, good, okay. And now I'm going to attach everything together. I kept it as a group initially, so because I was as I was making it and attaching it to the mirror, I needed to adjust how long his body was to fit along the handle and adjust his head for angle and all that sort of jazz. So I kept it separate and grouped, so it was easy for me to do rotations and scaling on. but I could easily change it up if I needed to. But we don't need that now, so it's one object, which is good. Genetic poly, let's send it over to Ryzen. Okay. Strawberry7, thank you for the follow, Strawberry7. I do appreciate it when you guys and girls follow my Twitch channel. So, hi Strawberry7, welcome to Phil Does 3D, and thanks for the follow. Don't forget, guys, too, if you want to join the Discord server, you can click the link I've just popped in Twitch chat. The Phil Does 3D Discord server. Only subs can post links in Twitch chat, but everyone can post links on the Discord. I love looking at the work that you guys and girls make, not just having you watch what I do. So yeah, join the Discord, post some images if you're working on anything in the gallery. If you're not working on anything, you just like to watch people do 3D work, then that's cool. But there's a good group of guys and girls that are members of the Phildo Discord server, and everyone's very friendly, very helpful. So if you've ever got any questions, you can always jump on Discord. Okay, let's go into sub-object mode here, I think, to start texturing this up. I'm going to start with the fangs. So I'm just going to isolate the two fangs. And again, I've got quite a bit of detail on this hand mirror because it's going to be an object that you can pick up in the game and actually use as part of a puzzle. So because you can pick it up, and part of the interface when you pick something up is you can zoom right into it, turn it around and examine it and all that sort of jazz. So it needs to be quite detailed for that. If this was just an object that was sitting on a table that people could never pick up or even see, then I probably wouldn't have put as much detail into it as I did. Smokery says, that guy's going to be interesting when textured. Yeah, but I've got no idea how we're going to texture this mirror up. I have not even thought about it. I made the model, and so we'll work it out when we get into Substance Painter and we start playing around with some of the materials to see what looks cool. We'll work it all out then. I've got no preconceived ideas at all about how I want to texture it up. Make the eyes ruby easier. Well, we probably will. We do want it to be quite a special looking mirror. Needs to be special looking so people know it's quite important. And, well, you know, it's going to be something you can use to actually interact with as far as a puzzle goes in the game. So, yeah, we do want it to be pretty and interesting. That was the reason I created the snake to begin with, just to make the mirror look a bit more interesting. Because why not? Everyone likes snakes, don't they? Snakes are cool, aren't they? Let's isolate the eyes. And that's also why I made the eyes separate objects, so that we can assign... Actually, what I might do with the eyes is... because I think jewels would look really cool. I'm not going to texture the eyes up inside of Substance Painter, because I'm going to use a crystal shader that I've created in Unreal. I created these ruby shaders and crystal shaders in different colors, like purples and reds and blues, that I use on other assets in the game. I'll reuse those for the eyes. So, emeralds, yeah. I think I've got like emerald, I've got ruby, I've got a whole range of different colored gem shaders that I created in Unreal that I can add to different bits and pieces. I created them for things like the main book that you find in the game, the Magus book, because it's jeweled on the outside and stuff as well as the case it's in. So we'll do that. We're still going to UV map it though, even though we're going to be using a shader inside of Unreal. Alrighty, let's move to this. even though this is like these algorithms here are made with stuff like this, but you see, even it can't work it out, even though it's just a torus, which is interesting. The program still has a problem. Now look again, this is not a great unwrap because of the back. I mean, the front is fine, but the back is terrible. We may have to do this one by hand if we can't get a good unwrap, a good automatic unwrap. This is not bad. I mean, the way it's done the cut here is a bit wonky, but if I was to do it by hand, that's how I'd cut it. But I think what I might end up doing here is let's see if we can't make a bit of a cleaner cut, which means that we can then stitch these. And that just gives us a bit of a cleaner cut. We are getting a little bit of stretching happening inside, but not enough to worry about. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do the body. This will be interesting. This is a complex piece of weird shape for it to try and automatically unwrap. Let's see what it does. Did a better job than I thought it would. I actually don't think we'll get a better unwrap than that, even though we are getting some stretching happening with the light red. I don't think it's enough to worry about. So a bit of stretching and a bit of squishing on the inside. But I like it because it's just done it in one cut through the middle, which is never going to be seen because the handle of the mirror runs up the middle anyway. So I'm happy with that. Now let's do the head. The head will be interesting too because it's another one of those weird shapes. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, let's see if we can find something else. Let's see if we can do a bit of cleanup here. I don't mind the cut line through the sides, that's okay. And around the jaw, that's okay as well. Andrew Doss says that'd be interesting. How was the snake created? It was molded in ZBrush. So basically I took a shape, I created a basic shape from a box in Max, just a rough sort of shape that I then took into ZBrush and that I then increased the resolution on and did a bit of sculpting. Then I took it back into Max and I did an optimize on the mesh to reduce the poly count. But don't tell anyone I was working in ZBrush because you know how much I don't like that. Sneak, Euro says, Andrew Doss says what? Yes, ZBrush, I know. Don't tell anyone. Look, I've said ZBrush is, if you need to do sculpting, ZBrush is the best program to use. I just hate the program, that's all. I just want to see if I can do some clean up on this automatic unwrap. Yeah, I don't really think we can do much better than that, to be honest. And I don't think we really need to. The only other thing we could do is we could split it down the middle here and stitch these two lines up here if we wanted to. But I don't think having the seam lines on the side here is too much of an issue, to be honest. The top of the head, we didn't really want a seam there, but here I think it should be fine. Okay, so I think that means that our snake is UV mapped. I don't think I forgot anything. Let's send it back. Let's go out of isolation mode. Okay, now I do want to separate the eyes because I'm going to make them shaders inside of UE4. So I'm just going to remove the eyes from the model, or just attach them so they're kept as a separate object. But apart from that, everything else, the mirror is a separate object. That's good. Everything else I think can be attached as one object. So I'm just going to rename this from object 1 to eyes, so I know what they are. Alright, let's start attaching everything together. So collapse that. And we're going to start attaching that, and attaching the snake, and the mirror, and the frame of the mirror, and the seal at the top. And we're going to call this mirror. I'm just seeing what these other lines are. Just going to isolate this to find out what that is. Okay, that's the outer rim of the mirror. We did UV map that, yes, good. And what's this line here? This will be the mirror, yep. Okay. So we'll call this mirror glass. And we just need to attach the outer rim. So we've got the eyes, the mirror, and the mirror glass. Good. Let us check our textile density. By throwing a checker pattern down. I do have to do a pack actually before I do this, but I'll set up the checker pattern first. We'll go 20 by 20. And before I apply it, I'm going to do an unwrap UVW and just do a repack.
What'll happen to me when you're done?
Okay, let's throw the checker pattern down. And I might just might increase the checker a little bit so that it's a little bit easier to see. So we'll go to a tiling of, I don't know, 35 by 35. Okay. I think our textile density looks okay. Actually, I think I might. The textile density on the body of the snake is a bit bigger than the rest of the model. Let's just have a look at that. So this is the body here. What I might do is I might just scale it up a bit, just so the textile density is a bit more even. Maybe bring it down a little bit. And we'll just get Max to do a repack, but not using this tool over here, using the one in the menu. We'll get it to fill holes. I don't want it to rotate clusters though. And unfortunately I forgot to do something, so I was going to scale it up a bit again. I need to tell it not to normalize, I think. Pack UVs. We don't want it to rescale. That's better. So now our textile density looks correct. Okay, let's remove the checker pattern, because it just gets distracting. Come on. Why you do this? There we go. Okay, let's do a quick save as a new revision number. So revision 3. All right. Now we should be good to go to texture it up, I think. Oh no, we have to do vertex coloring, so let's do that. Okay, so actually this bit at the end here, I might make that a ruby as well. I think. A couple of things I need to do, because I forgot. I need to select this, throw an unwrap UVW down and pack it. Actually no, it's packed okay, that's fine. The eyes, let's check the eyes though. No, the eyes will be alright as well. Well, that's good. So the eyes are going to be rubies, and I think I might make this little pointy bit on the end here a ruby as well. So I'm going to collapse my stack. I'm going to remove the NP, so I'll detach it, so we can set it up as a separate shader. That does mean that I need to repack the UVs for it. We can use this one over here. Good. So when I do the I'll reattach everything shortly, but for the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just assign some plain colors, so that when I bring it into Unreal, we have different materials ready for it. So this one's going to be the actual mirror itself, the blue. This one's the main body of the mirror. I need one that's going to be they've moved everything on me. I've got to try it. There it is, standard. This one can be the rubies. So we're just going to make this, I don't know, we'll make it a green. And we're going to assign that to that and to the eyes. That just reminds me that I'm not texturing those up inside of Substance Painter. I'm using a shader. But we can start doing some vertex painting now, vertex coloring. So we have to sort of decide how we're going to break this up. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to deselect the middle, so those bits at the top and at the bottom, let's make those yellow color, and that will leave the middle. Let's make that
Well, if you're wondering what's happened,
an aqua color.
so am I.
Okay. Now, the actual swirly bits along the outside here, I think we'll make those and these a specific metal color. It's sort of like I'm trying to imagine in my head as I'm trying to work out the vertex coloring here. Yeah, let's make those, I don't know, a green. And that will leave this bit, and this bit through here. Let's make that a different type of metal, and we'll make that a pinky purple. And that will leave this bit and this bit and these bits. Yeah, let's make those, I don't know, a deep blue. So then that leaves this. Actually, I could break this up as well. How do I want to break this up? I think we'll break it up. That can be the same metal color, so let's make that a dark green. And that will leave, oh, wrong one. That will leave these. Not that. Trying for that. That. Not that. That. What I'm going to have to do here, yeah, let's make that outer ring a different metal. Let's make that a red. I'm going to turn vertex coloring on here so I can more easily see what's going on. What I have done and what I haven't done. Okay, well, that can stay white. That can be green. That's a different metal. So we need the frame of the mirror. And the back of the mirror. So make sure I haven't selected the mirror itself. I don't think I have. I hope not. Let's make that. That's going to be a wood color, I think. It might be metal, might be wood. I don't know. We'll find out when we jump into Substance Painter. But let's make that like a really bright yellow, I guess. Okay. I'm getting confused. The mirror is separate. That's good. Okay, cool. I was worried that I'd set a vertex color on the actual mirror glass, and I don't want to do that, but I didn't. So that's all good. It's all good. Now the snake. I'm just going to go out of vertex color mode here because it's hard for me to see what's going on. Let's make the fangs separate. So let's make them, I don't know, like a mid-grey. Then we've got the head and the body. I guess that should all be the same type of material. So let's make that. What are we going to make it? We need a color we haven't used. And we've used nearly all of them. Let's make it this dark purple. And then this ring around here, we can make a separate color. Let's make that a darker grey. Okay, that's going to be a shader. The eyes are going to be a shader, and the glass is going to be a shader. So let's turn vertex coloring on, so we haven't make sure we haven't forgotten anything. I think we might be good. Might actually make those a different color, so let's make that, I don't know, that burnt orange color. And we got the white, we got the green, the purple, the dark purple, the blue, the yellow, the light blue, fangs, the eye. I think we're good. I think we've done all of our texture colouring, vertex colouring. So let's turn off vertex colour now so we can see our model. I'm going to keep the end pieces and the eyes separate and the glass. We don't want to bring those into Substance Painter. I'm just again going to make sure that do an unwrap UVW and make sure we're packed correctly. We are. Okay, let's do a quick save as a new revision number. And let's export the model. And this is hand mirror. Let's jump into Substance Painter. Make sure we save this one. And create a new project. I want to make sure that the UVs are not inverted like we were having that problem with yesterday. And it does not look like they are. That's good. No, I think we should be good. Let's bake out our maps. Let me just rename this material to hand mirror. And we can bake out our maps at 2K using the low poly as the high poly and making sure we choose vertex color. Good. And we're pretty much ready to go. Let's save this project. I'm just going to call it hand and mirror. But I think we might leave it there for today, guys and girls. It's no point in me starting to texture this up now because it's the end of the stream. We'll finish it off on Monday next week when I'm back live again. So on Monday next week, 5 PM Pacific time, I will finish texturing up this mirror. And then it might be jumping into Unreal actually after that. But I don't think there are many other assets I need to do. I do want to thank you guys and girls very much though for being here and hanging out with me and for watching. I will be back on again on Monday next week at 5 PM Pacific time. We'll finish the mirror off, and if I can't think of any other assets I've got to create, although I still got to do the floor, so we might do the floor for the study. But then we can jump into Unreal, so. Epic Mirror Week, as Smurfberry says. That's right, join me on Monday next week for the Epic Mirror Week. You guys take care and have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. And I will see you all on Monday next week. Okay. See you guys.